iPhone's clock is a weird app, not just because almost everyone uses this sound and for whatever reason refuses to change it to something else, but there are also many other things which don't seem to make a lot of sense. Like the button's position, or weird snooze timer for example. Basically, here's why the iPhone alarm sucks. Okay, so the first thing. You want to wake up in the morning, but you are a tight sleeper, and you just don't hear your alarms. How do you raise the volume? You may look around the app, try to edit the alarm where you can change the name of it and the sound, but there's no way to adjust the actual volume. To do that, you need to leave the app, open up the settings, and go to the sounds and haptics. A totally different place where you can adjust one ringer slider, which applies not only to every single alarm on your phone, but also to incoming phone calls. So even though you can change the sound for the different alarms, the volume is set for all of them. But okay, I can live with that. But still, when you set up a bedtime, which is a more in-depth version of alarm, there you can adjust the volume. So a tiny little bit weird. Now, imagine that you set an alarm and you wake up in the morning, but let's say that you don't really feel like waking up right now. What do? You hit snooze. But here's another thing. If you use iPhone's clock app for alarms and for timers, it will inevitably confuse you. Basically, when the timer goes off, you have a big stop button in the middle and one smaller button saying repeat at the bottom. When the alarm goes off, on the other hand, you have a big snooze button in the middle and one small stop button at the bottom. The position of the two features is just swapped for whatever reason. When you're half awake in the morning, sitting on your bed, it's easy to get confused and click the wrong button. There are many people actually complaining about the problem, hitting the snooze while thinking it was the stop button, only to hear the alarm going off again, waking up the rest of the house. And also, why does the snooze have to be bigger? Isn't the purpose of an alarm to wake you up? It would make sense if the priority was put on the stop button, am I right? Okay, but even if you hit a snooze, you don't really have any option to customize it, which is understandable since you're using an iPhone. Well, you can only enable or disable the snooze feature for specific alarms, but there's no way to adjust the time for the snooze option. It will always be exactly 9 minutes. The reason for it is pretty simple. Well, the old mechanical alarms used to work this way, and it's basically an Apple's tribute to the old clocks, which is a little bit unusual to do, but fair enough. There are other suggested features that would make sense. For example, even though you hit the snooze button, but meanwhile you pick up the phone and use it to check social media, for example, or anything else, the iPhone could know and be aware that you are already awake since you're using the phone, but that's probably too advanced. When it comes to the sound, the radar sound is really intense. So intense in fact that some people literally wake up before the alarm goes off, so they don't need to hear it. But some individuals decided to take a huge step forward and change the sound. So obviously you can pick from multiple different default sounds, but if you want something custom, you're being redirected to the iTunes ringtone library where you can purchase something else. The problem is that iOS indicates that you can only use a ringtone, but there is also the option to add an actual song from Apple Music. Keep in mind that there is still the possibility of using no sound at all and rely on vibration only, if that's something that will wake you up. Now, a possible way to fix all of this is by installing a third-party alarm app. I, for example, like to use Alarm.me, which lets me create custom missions to wake me up. I set it to a couple of math problems to engage my brain to wake me up. I'm not affiliated with the app or anything, but I'm just saying what I like to use. And also, a different one I like to install on my phone is one called Sleep Cycle, which can wake you up during the perfect time based on your sleep patterns. But keep in mind that these apps and any third-party apps are not as deeply integrated into the iOS as the official clock app. meaning that if you close the app, you don't let it run in the background, it won't wake you up. So interestingly enough, even if I use third-party alarm app, I still set one up in the stock one, in the official clock app, just to be sure. Another possibility is to use an Apple Watch and let the Taptic engine wake you up instead of using your iPhone. So as you can see, there is a lot of space for improvement. When it comes to the clock app, perhaps we'll see a huge leap forward from Apple in the next iOS updates, but I doubt that it will be anytime soon. What I have no doubts about, however, is that we will see each other in the future on the Foxtecc TV. Make sure to subscribe so you stay in touch, and I'll catch you in the next videos.